Somewhere in the Caribbean on the southern coast of the island of Hispaniola is a kiteboarding spot so unique it will blow you away. This secret spot in the kiteboarding mecca of the Dominican Republic is a windy escape for the locals, but they're ready to welcome some new faces. Today we are talking about Punta Salinas. My name is Crystal Vanessa. Welcome to Destination. When it comes to hidden gems, this spot is a rare one. Being only an hour away from a major airport, Punta Salinas is a small waterfront fishing village that's home to a naval base and a salt mine. Driving up to the point and setting up on this spot feels like discovering something special. But it may not be a hidden gem for long. The Punta Arena project has broken ground across the bay, and this sustainable tourist development will be bringing visitors and water sports lovers from all over to hang their hat here for a little while. But until then, this is true natural kiteboarding, and this spot is one that should be on your bucket list. So we are going to tell you everything you need to know about kiteboarding here in Punta Salinas, and then everything else you need to know before you go. Now let's start with windy season. So in most of the Dominican Republic, the windy season is very defined, but here in Punta Salinas there is a bit of a microclimate, which means it can be windy any day of the year. While most of the DR is experiencing their rainy season, you can still find hot, sunny, windy days here in Punta Salinas. When it comes to predicting wind in Punta Salinas, it can be a bit of a gamble. So they do have forecasts online like on Wind Guru, but there are no live wind stations. And really the people that know best what's happening with the wind, or that can predict it, are the local fishermen. But if you don't have their number, the best thing to do is to reach out to one of the local kite centers that makes a frequent visit to Punta Salinas, like Kiteology. So we've included the contact information for Kiteology DR in the description of this video, so you can reach out to them and find out when the wind will be blowing. Now, what kind of wind to expect? It can be really all over the map here, so the best thing to do is to come prepared with gear, since this is a bit of an off the beaten track kite spot. You'll want anything from like a 6 meter to a 12, and assorted boards if you have them. I've been there on days when it was nuking, high 30s, and then on other days when a 12 meter kite would have come in handy. Depending on the wind direction, the wind can either be very calm and consistent or super gusty, so come ready for anything. So weather, it's basically summer forever in Punta Salinas, so you can expect hot, dry temperatures of about 80 Fahrenheit or 25 Celsius all year round. When you think of the Dominican Republic, most people think jungle and tropics, but here in Punta Salinas, it's more of a desert-like climate, so when the sun is shining, it is hot, so bring lots of sunscreen and sun protection. The water temperature here is perfect, tropical, and warm. You don't even really need a wetsuit. If you're here on a day when it's not too sunny, you may want a 1 or 2 millimeter layer, but other than that, you should be good with just a bikini or board shorts. So the main launch spot here in Punta Salinas is right at the point. So the point here splits the bay from the ocean, and the wind blows onshore through the bay and onto the point, and then offshore on the other side of the bay out to the ocean. When the wind shifts, you can find spots all along the bay, but for accessibility, the point is really the best place to ride. The launch spot is a sandy, shelly beach, and there can be debris on the beach, of course, so check the spot before you go. And once you're on the water, you have a whole bay to explore. For riding level, this spot is super friendly to all level of riders, but because of its remote nature, I would highly recommend that only intermediate or advanced riders ride in this spot. If you're still not too comfortable kiting or you're in your beginner phases, I recommend going with a kite school, so you can contact Kiteology DR again, and they organize trips pretty much every week. For riding style, this spot works for basically everyone, so free ride, freestyle, foil, big air. The only ones that aren't going to find too much to see here are the surfers. When the wind is cranking here, it can be quite gusty, which means that big air lovers can send it as hard as they want. Foilers will have the most freedom to explore the bay and the mangroves on the other side. And those freestylers have a nice little flat water section just below the point that is a perfect place to practice tricks. Facilities, Punta Salinas is a bit light on the facilities side, especially for kiteboarders, so bring everything you have, your repair kits, extra gear. But once you're in town, you can pick up snacks or water for the beach, but you should bring it out to the point with you. So there's no bathrooms, changing rooms, or shower facilities here. This is wild kiteboarding at its best. You will also need a car to get here, so you can rent one from the airport or from Cabarete, and of course you can just organize a group trip with Kiteology or one of the other kite schools to come here. Once the Punta Arena project is finished, you will be sitting pretty with every comfort you can imagine, but for now, embrace the nature. There are a few cautions to watch out for here in Punta Salinas. Number one, it's a remote spot, so be prepared and don't push yourself past your level. Number two is watch out for the debris on the beach. There can be broken glass or garbage on the beach, so make sure to look around at your launching and landing spots before you set up your gear. And then the other one is a shallow reef just off the point, which you can see from the beach, but you definitely don't want to crash onto the reef. It doesn't feel that nice. And then for those that will be riding below the point, it is very offshore in this spot, and once you're out there, it's just you in the ocean. So unless you are very good at sweet-talking fishermen, you could be in for a bit of a swim if you have any trouble down there. Whatever you've heard about kiteboarding in the Dominican Republic, you can throw it out the window, because kiteboarding in Punta Salinas is its own experience entirely. If you want even more detailed information on kiteboarding in Punta Salinas, check out the link to the kite spot guide in the description of this video, or if you click on the little eye icon in the top corner, you can get a link to a much more detailed spot guide. Now let's get into everything else you need to know before you go. Let's start with how to get here. So in the unlikely event that you're coming to just kite in Punta Salinas, you can fly into Santo Domingo and drive west for an hour and you'll get here. But chances are you'll already be in Cabarete or Punta Cana and want to explore some of the secret spots. So in that case, you would rent a car. It's about a 4 or 5 hour drive from Cabarete and about a 3 or 4 hour drive from Punta Cana. Accommodation-wise, you don't have too many options in Punta Salinas until Punta Arena is finished, but for now there is a hotel in town, there's some houses on Airbnb, but really a local connection is everything. So if you're going to come down with one of the other kite centers like Kiteology DR, they can set you up with private accommodation here on the spot. Now you also have the option of staying in Santo Domingo, so it's only about an hour drive, and you have accommodation at every level and price point and tons of activities and amenities, so you can just come out to Punta Salinas when the wind is blowing. If you really want to settle in though to the Punta Salinas vibe, the best thing to do is check out some local accommodation options on Airbnb. Alright, so food and drink in Punta Salinas. I hope you like fish, because this is a fishing village and their fried fish of the day is probably the best dish that you'll have here. But there's some great seafood restaurants near the spot. There's also street stands that have barbecued and fried chicken, just typical Dominican food. There aren't really grocery stores in town. There's a couple little corner stores, so the best thing to do is pick up groceries on the way if you're staying a while, or hit up some of the fresh fruit stands on the highway on the way here. So adventure-wise, there's actually a few really cool adventures here in Punta Salinas, but it's not really the kind of place where you can go online and book a tour. This is still very much a get in touch with the local sort of place. The crew at Kiteology DR can help you plan some of the really cool experiences here. I highly recommend four-wheel driving on the beach, although you will need a very well-equipped vehicle for this and very proficient sand driving skills. I do not recommend going it alone on this one. So now there's an incredible fishing spot just behind the sand dunes that is a great picture of what local life in Salinas is like, but this spot also makes for a really beautiful snorkeling and scuba diving spot. But you will have to bring your own gear, so we rented our equipment from Gus Dive Center in Santo Domingo. If you're here with a family, just wandering around and exploring is probably your best bet. You can hike up the sand dunes. There's a really cool tower that you can climb up to get a beautiful view of the bay. There's goats and iguanas everywhere you look. And of course, that salt mine is actually a really cool spot to check out. So this mine has no modern technology. I highly recommend stopping by and checking it out on your way to the spot. This is the perfect spot for a day trip or to spend a night or two with some family and friends. Kiteboarding really is a draw for this spot. If you want, just come for the kite and get your adventure fix in Cabarete or Punta Cana. Punta Salinas is one of those kiteboarding spots that you just have to see for yourself. So if you're already planning a trip to the Dominican Republic, set aside a day or three and come and check out this spot. It is very much a unique experience and worth it for the adventurous kiteboarder. If you want to know anything else about kiteboarding in this spot, check out the link to the written spot guide. Again, the link is here on the little I button, and there's one in the description of this video. I'd also recommend checking out our Cabarete spot guide, which has even more tips for travel and adventure in the Dominican Republic. If you enjoyed the spot guide, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to be notified of the next destination that we're covering. If you have any more questions about this spot, leave us a comment or reach out to me on social media. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Destinations.